next guest is recognized as one of the greatest caricaturists of the 20th century. He virtually created the panel-by-panel approach to satirizing in movies and TVs that is now a signature of Mad's features. In addition to Mad, his work has appeared on the cover of Time magazine and on numerous movie posters and advertisements. He is also recipient of the National Cartoonist Society prestigious Reuben Award. Much of his success can be credited to his childhood bride, for over 60 years, Barbara, who is in the audience tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mort Drucker. You may recognize our next guest from his appearance on ABC News overnight, where he is the resident GizWiz correspondent. Or you may recognize him from the many television game shows he's been associated with, including Match Game and Family Feud. Or maybe from his hugely popular podcast, The Daily GizWiz. But I suspect most of you know this gentleman from his voluminous work at Mad, where he has written hundreds of pages, including some of Mad's most classic TV and movie and ad satires. He is Mad's maddest writer, Mr. Dick DeBartolo. Dick just told me he wants a Reuben sandwich. My next guest flew over 3,000 miles to be here with us today. He is an award-winning illustrator and animator whose artwork has appeared in Rolling Stone and the New York Times. In addition, he has worked as an animator and director for music videos from artists such as Tenacious D, They Might Be Giants, and Cyndi Lauper. But he's here today because of his work as producer for the new Mad show on Cartoon Network. See Mondays 8:30, consult your lucky listings. If you've seen the show, you know what a sensational job he does in making the show reflective of the look of Mad magazine. It's a real visual feast. He is Mr. Mark Merrick. And lastly, my next guest began drawing for Mad in 1980. Over the following years, he quickly became one of the great new second generation of Mad artists. In 1999, he came on staff as Mad's art director, where he does a sensational job of attracting and mentoring new artistic talent and making the magazine look great. He's here today despite the fact that he owes me $20. He is Sam Viviano. We started a little late, so I'm going to give this right over to Mark, who has a presentation for us on animation and the Mad TV show.
Wow, this is an honor. I grew up on Mad, and to be here with this panel is truly amazing to me. It's an honor to be, in some way, part of the usual gang of idiots. Again, I grew up on this magazine in the 60s, tucked it under my mattress. And if somebody told me at one point I'd be sitting on a panel with Mort Drucker and Al Jaffe and Sam Viviano and the rest of this crew, I'd be like, you're kidding me, this is too much. What I'd like to do is start off by showing some selections from the first few episodes. Some of it's finished, some of it's animatics, works in progress. And then I have a few treats of little animations that haven't aired quite yet. We'll see how that goes. We need to make sure that I've got one. Yeah. Somehow I don't see it though. Yeah. Are we set? No, it's up here. If I have to reboot again and you hear that chime, they're all going to come up here.
There's a one here. Describe what we would have seen.
So I know it. Tune in at 8:30 on Mondays. Gather around. By here. We've got bigger crew here now. It's probably what's good. So, not exactly what we should do. You know, when I started out as an illustrator. I'm going to pave over some time. When I started out as an illustrator, I came to New York in the 70s, and I tried to get into Mad Magazine as an illustrator. This is a time when Mad Magazine was very protective, I guess I could say, of their current artists. And you could not get in there to save your life. Didn't matter what. So I went to National Lampoon, went that route. But
get off the pen.
Well, let me tell you, though, National Lampoon and so many other magazines of irreverence will cite Mad as an inspiration. But I guess now I'm kind of snuck into the magazine in a way. So I'm happy.
Is your presentation working? Do you want to flip the...
Well, let me see. That might be a good question. Should I try number 2 and see if mine shows up? Pam?
Or I could reboot.
Well, here, let me just see what happens when I put in number 2. There it is. Well, let's see. Should I do... Should we do ours? Okay, now let me see if I go back to 1 now. Oh, wait, this is... There's 1.
This panel on technology in the media will continue in just a moment.
Should we just go on? Why don't we do our bit and then...
No, you don't want to.
There you go. Okay, this...
All right, Sam and I would like to give you, hopefully, a brief history of Mad Magazine, whether you want it or not. Mad began in 1952 as a 10-cent comic book.
And is now an overpriced full-color magazine.
Thank you, and good night.
See, now, wasn't it worth it?
I have to credit Vicky Bartolo for that joke. I've stolen it about 50 times so far.
Okay, but I suppose we could go into a little more detail. The history of Mad begins with this man, William M. Gaines, the publisher of E.C. Comics and Mad Magazine. Can everyone hear me, or do I need to get this closer?
I'm here.
Okay.
Eventually, Bill looked like this, which shows what 40 years of Mad will do to you.
Mad's first editor was Harvey Kurtzman, who had been putting together war comics for EC and wanted a change of pace, not to mention a raise. In late summer 1952, the first issue of Mad hit the newsstands. It was a comic book that made fun of other comic books, and by issue number 4, it was a huge success.
Around this time, the comic book industry was beset by preachers, psychologists, and Senate subcommittees, all linking comics to juvenile delinquency. They may have had a point. With his comic titles crumbling, Bill decided to let Harvey turn Mad into a full-size magazine.
And in 1955, the first issue of the new Mad appeared, featuring this vital message from the editors. Please buy this magazine.
A message more vital today than ever before. In 1956, Kurtzman left Mad, and Gaines tapped this man, Al Feldstein, best known for editing Tales from the Crypt and other EC titles, to edit Mad.
With his first issue as editor, Feldstein put this gap-toothed idiot boy, Alfred E. Newman, on the cover in a painting by Norman Mingo. Alfred would go on to grace most covers of Mad to follow. And, incredibly, become an American icon.
Over the next quarter century, Feldstein and his motley staff, shown here, went on to revolutionize American satire, featuring such artists and cartoonists as Mr. Moore Trucker.
Yay!
You're not going to get a better John Wayne than that, I'll tell you. More to come on Mort's place in Mad history in just a few minutes.
Other artists introduced in this era were Jack Davis,
Yay!
Don Martin, Antonio Correa, his enormous Drivers and Cars, Sergio Aragones, who began to work with research in a new book published by Running Press, now available at a bookstore near you. And another of the gentlemen seated here, Mr. Al Jaffe, famous for a little inside back cover research for all of the bad clothing.
Yeah. Oh.
Now, in this recent example, Al asks, what potential health threat has been linked to the nation's pig population? Swine flu, perhaps? No. The potential health threat linked to the nation's pig population is Denny's Grand Slam breakfast. Okay, we'll get back to Al in a few minutes, but now back to our history lesson, John.
Thank you very much. Feldstein and his staff also put together an impressive group of riders for MAD, including Frank Jacobs, Tom Cook, Arnie Kogan, Stan Hart, Larry Siegel, and another one of our guests, Mr. Dick DiBartolo. Here's one of Dick's recent spoofs, the KFC triple bypass. More on Dick later as well.
In 1984, Al Feldstein retired and the Meglin-Ficarra co-editorship debacle began, ushering in more changes to MAD.
Specifically, a new generation of riders, Joe Raiola, Charlie Cadu, and Dave Corrado, two of whom are in the room today. Raise your hand, guys.
There they are. As well as such artists and illustrators as Richard Williams, who not only followed Norman Mingo's MAD's primary cover artist, but also contributed such masterpieces as this painting of Washington cross-dressing the Delaware.
Also, John Caldwell.
Tom Bunk, with his famous Zit strip.
And a hack named Sam Viviano. Bill continued to be happy with his magazine, but he also continued to age until 1992, at which point he left MAD to pursue other opportunities in the afterlife. Around this time, longtime MAD art director Lenny Brennan retired, so Sam hung up his freelance beret and put on a new hat as MAD's art director. A job he took on enthusiastically, injecting a new level of visual energy into the magazine, and I swear to God, this is not a stage photo.
Fortunately for me, I can rely on the invaluable Ryan Flanders and Doug Thompson, both of whom are also here today to make sure that the magazine gets out in time. Otherwise, there'd be no magazine at all. Ryan and Doug, where are you? There they are. During this time, new artists also joined the fold, including Mark Fredrickson, soon to become MAD's primary cover artist. Drew Friedman.
Peter Cooper, who took over as Spy vs. Spy.
And I lost my place, but I can tell you, this is Herman Mejia.
And Tom Richmond.
There's Tom. And
Teresa Burns Parkhurst.
And Liz Lomax.
Oh.
This is a sculpture, by the way.
It just gets more disgusting every time you see it. The veins, just disturbing. After 50 years, my old partner, Nick Meglin, retired to pursue his first love, court stenography.
Leaving the magazine in the questionable hands of John Ficarra.
I'm not that good.
Yeah,
Last year saw the publication of MAD's 500th issue. This represented not only a tip of the hat to a long, dubious history for the magazine, but an affirmation that we're still here, thumbing our nose at those in authority, and still bilking readers out of their hard-earned cash.
Now, if you haven't read a copy of MAD lately, you might be surprised by the magazine it's become. Full color.
It's more topical.
More cutting.
Oh. Oh.
I'll wait.
No.
But every bit is stupid.
We have spoofs on politics.
And the blowhards who cover politics.
Sports.
And we use that term in the loosest way possible.
Advertising. our next issue, so go buy it.
And pop culture.
We've also introduced new features such as the Strip Club, which showcases a new generation of artists and writers, some of whom I think are actually in the room here today.
I guess they are.
As well as Planet Tad, written by Daily Show writer Tim Carvel, soon to be an all-new book from HarperCollins. I should have put a plug on that one.
We end by giving you a sneak peek at our latest cover on stands this week, honoring our new favorite show, Land-Based, Glee. This issue also welcomes our newest advertiser, the seafood chain based in the Gulf Coast, Dead Lobster.
Coming up next month, a Spy vs. Spy special issue featuring over 40 classic tales by Antonio Prohias and Peter Cooper, as well as, and Peter did the cover, by the way, as well as Amazing Spy mini posters by Peter Bagg, Evan Dorkin, Bob Stack, Tom Funk, and Jim Lee.
And we're hard at work on our end of year issue honoring the Mad 20, the 20 dumbest people, events, and things of 2010. Stay tuned to see who gets top or bottom honors. Thank you. We're done, and this time we mean it.
Hooray!
We thought we'd spend a little time with our three assembled guests here, starting with Mr. Jaffe. Al is famous for many features, including his inventions, such as this ingenious pooper scooper.